Can you see it right?
All
Steve?
right, Utilities and Streets Committee meeting is called to order here. Can everyone hear me?
Yes, sir.
We can.
All right, call to order. So without further ado, Mr. Insman, one editorial note. I have a hard out at 4 p.m. So if we go a little bit longer than that, Mr. McLaughlin will take notes. But
Sure.
Mr. Insman has assured me that he's going to talk really quickly. So
Absolutely, as always.
so, the man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Insman.
Very good, thank you. Of course, we're moving this meeting from last Thursday, which was the January 14th. Today's the January 19th, 2021. I have a slide through here. All right, first thing we're going to talk about today will be street paving project. A little bit of an update here. The final preparations are being made to the 2021 street paving bid project. During a recent review of the bid specifications, the engineering department noticed necessary items that were not included on the itemized material list that need to be included. The calculations for the materials are being populated for these items that were overlooked at the original beginning of this project. So upon receipt of the costs for the materials, they will be incorporated into the project cost. We are anticipating a change to the street resurfacing area as originally designed. After discussing the necessary modifications to the bid specifications, the potential change could actually be beneficial due to other utility and construction projects scheduled and forthcoming to the section of the project area. More information will be provided upon receipt of the revised engineer's estimated cost for the project. But as of now, it's looking more than likely the only area affected by the change will be on High School Avenue from the bridge going north to Main Street. Upon the final review, legislation will be prepared and presented to council. Project is still on schedule to have the bid package presented to council in February. Okay, there, Joe, you can go to slide 3. Ditch petition update. The administration and Councilman at Large, Steve McLaughlin, are gathering the necessary information to file the ditch petition. Some notes of interest here. Informational meetings are being held. We've had 4 meetings since December 21st. Soil and Water Conservation District representatives and the Richland County engineer are assisting with the informational gathering process. The petition is to be filed with the clerk of the Board of County Commissioners. Petition will be a joint county filing. Richland County and Crawford counties will be in the petition. The petition is filed in Richland County, but will be sent to the Crawford County Commissioners via the clerk of the Board of County Commissioners. The filing needs to be presented to the clerk before March 3rd, 2021 to be grandfathered under the current ditch petition language. The new language within the ditch petition filing would bring additional costs for the bond. The projected ditch petition filing date is tentatively scheduled to be submitted during the week of February 15th. This window can move to later in the month of February if necessary, but the filing needs to be submitted before March 3rd. Next slide, Joe. Some notes of interest continued here. The petition can be submitted to the petition to be submitted to the county officials is being drafted. An informational letter is being written as well and is planned to be inserted into the next utilities bill to provide city residents some details on the ditch petition. The informational letter to be sent to the property owners outside of the city utilities is still being discussed on how the notice will be delivered. An outside party will be seeking additional signatures for the petition. Communications from city and county officials will be extremely important to relay proper information about the workings of the ditch petition. As the project develops, information will be provided by mailings to property owners, public hearings if permitted, Facebook live meetings, live streaming, and possible Zoom meetings. Zoom meetings have limited seating. The City of Shelby website, Richland Soil and Water Conservation District website, Black Fork Cleanup Project Facebook page, and local newspapers. Next page here, Joe. Any conversation here on the ditch petition filing updates?
no questions, but I think maybe something we need to reiterate when we're speaking of this is some people ask, what ditch are we talking about?
Right.
You know,
Yeah.
and we have to bring the Black Fork River into view when we're talking about, I don't,
Yep.
you know, ditch petition is the language that's used, but I think we need to explain that.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah, ditch petition is the legal terminology. You know, whether any waterway, whether it's a ditch along the road or the river, so the term ditch is kind of loosely used on this, but yeah,
Correct.
the ditch that we're talking about here is the Black Fork River, and it goes the Black Fork River section between the Mickey Road and State Route 13. So that is the ditch petition area.
So John,
Yes,
it's
sir.
called the Black Fork Ditch.
It's designated as river. I mean, the proper name would be river.
It's down the road.
He's trying to be funny.
Sure,
Is he-
it's a cat food, but yeah, I mean,
That's
the proper name is river, so we probably should maintain Black Fork River. So,
Correct.
yeah. Very good. All right, I'm going to move on here to the stormwater management surcharge. So continuation of the discussion for the implementation of a stormwater management surcharge. Development of the surcharge is being sought to provide funds for stormwater related projects and repairs. Reason for surcharge: the surcharge would help fund stormwater related projects and maintain/repair the existing infrastructure. Numerous calls are received every year from residents identifying stormwater issues. Many items identified in the 2009 smoke test have not been addressed as funding is needed to resolve the noted issues. The amount for the stormwater surcharge, if you look here, see the following here: senior citizens/disabled would be $1.75, residential would be $1.75, commercial accounts $1.75, industrial accounts would be $3.50. Note here, the funding for the proposed surcharge is being chiseled from the dissolved water capital improvement surcharge. The dissolved water capital improvement surcharge would be divided into two new surcharges. The two new surcharges equal the same surcharge amount from the dissolved water capital improvement surcharge. So two new surcharges populated from the one dissolved surcharge. So if you look at the next page, give you another breakout. This has been provided last couple meetings here, but just to kind of show it again. So up top here, you see the water capital improvement surcharge. So this was dissolved at the end of December of 2020. So a couple of weeks ago, this was dissolved. So if you look at the next one down, it'd be the Water Asset Management Fund. This was implemented January 1st of 2021. Then the proposed would be the Storm Sewer Management Surcharge. So if you look at the top there, again, it's the Water Capital Improvement Surcharge, again, which is dissolved. Senior citizen was charged $3.50. And if you come down to the Water Asset Management, that charge on there is $1.75. And if you look at the proposal for the stormwater, is another $1.75. So the $1.75 plus $1.75 equals $3.50. So what's essentially taking place, we're looking at the dissolved water capital improvement surcharge and creating two new funds, surcharges. So one would be the Water Asset Management Fund, and then the proposed would be the stormwater management surcharge. So Nathan, you want me to run through those numbers?
Trying to get off mute. What's that?
You want me to run through these numbers? We've had this slide last couple of meetings. So you want me to run through these again, that we can see the actual? Okay.
No, just if you just want to touch on, do you have the one with the percentage increase?
The next slide doesn't have no, I don't have the percentage increase.
Okay,
No,
that's fine then. Then don't, I won't worry about it. We've had it the last few meetings, so. I
right.
think
Yeah, you can
everybody's
see the
on
next
the
slide there.
page.
Yeah, the next slide there shows that you can kind of see it laid out there, a little easier to see. So we're just taking the dissolved surcharge, taking the one and creating two new surcharges with that. So
In other words, no new assessment. It's the same basically assessment or surcharge amount that we have been paying for years.
that's correct,
Yeah.
except for the industrial.
It's a replacement, basically.
Right.
Now there is a slight increase on the industrial, as you see there down at the bottom there of this slide. You'll see the industrial. They were paying $7 for the water capital surcharge. The water asset management, there is $6.75, and the industrial is $3. The senior citizen, disabled, residential, commercial they would equal the same. As you can come across, look at residential, $5.50. It's $3.75 for water asset management and $1.75 for residential stormwater maintenance.
And what's the reasoning behind the industrial change?
Joe, go to the next slide, please. Go back up to, I'm sorry. If you look at the water asset management industrial, there's more water usage than stormwater equals a greater contribution. This is very true in the water asset management. The industrial users use a lot of water versus your commercial and residential. So we kept the water asset management fund elevated in this particular fund. And when you come down to stormwater management surcharge, if you come down to industrial, they have a larger impervious footprint on the industrial side. So that's the reason why we kept that number up here a little bit. So more water used in the water asset management and a larger impervious footprint on the stormwater side of things. Okay. All right. Stormwater management surcharge. After discussing the proposed surcharge with the finance department, they agreed it would be best suited that the proposed surcharge follow the below outline. Transparency of the surcharge. The surcharge would be best listed on the utilities bill under the title Storm Water Management. Posting of surcharge collection, the funds collected from the surcharge would be posted to the 402 fund, which is the Sewer Improvement Fund, SIF, under a new revenue line item identified as Storm Water Management. Projected annual collection from the surcharge is approximately $85,000. And expenditures of the surcharge collections would be dispersed from the expense line items within the 402 fund, again, which is a sewer improvement fund. All right. Any questions there? So if the committee would like to move forward with the development of the stormwater surcharge, legislation will be prepared and presented to council in the near future. So
John, if
yes,
I may
sir.
say, I think this is something you and I have really thought of over the years. And as you mentioned, being out and about in some of the communities, I should say in some of our neighborhoods, how valuable this would be. Plus, this is something that many of our neighboring communities have done or in the process of doing for the very reasons that you spoke of.
Sure. Yeah, very, very true. Yeah, most communities have some form of a stormwater management program. And their surcharges are higher than what was presented here. Areas around us could be in that $4 to $5 to $6 on the residential side. We're at $1.75. I think right now the collections at $85,000 would suffice for what we need to do right now. It was discussed years ago about actually making a stormwater department. So within your service department, you'd have a street division, a sanitary sewer division, a stormwater division, and a water distribution division. So I don't think we're there yet. I think we're managing just fine with the service department that's doing the work right now. So I think the collection is needed. It's definitely going to help allow us to do more work on the stormwater side. So I think what we have in front of us right now is a good proposal to definitely get us started. And I can say this is something from the engineering side. They've been asking for this for quite some time. They know that there's a lot of work that needs to be done, but if the funds aren't there to support the project, so we just delay until we actually get the funds to do the work. So yeah, it's again being creative with the surcharge. Take it to one, make it a two. I think it's the doable surcharge at that time.
And it's also a good time to do it with one charge coming off the books, being able to replace it with this. So it's not like there's going to be an increase in rate, correct?
Correct. That was
So
the whole thought process.
This is just allowing us to, accounting wise, kind of, and realistically, allow us to do the legal thing that we're needing to do via the auditors, right?
Correct. That's correct.
So yeah, it's a perfect time to do it. It's needed, and yeah, I'm fully supportive and willing to sponsor whatever legislation needs to come to council.
Okay, fantastic. Thank you. Okay, next slide here, Joe. All right, pollinating field. This is kind of a fun one here. Development of a pollinating field for bees and butterflies. The thought for such a field was from an innovative vision. That vision comes from a person in front of us right now. That comes from Mayor Shag. Thank you. It's an awesome idea here. So the project started gaining conversation last year when a question was floated on how do we achieve the status of becoming a bee city. Discussions led to research, which then led to an outreach to some parties that could help bring the idea to fruition. Calls and contacts were made to the following agencies and mentors to help bring more thought and knowledge to the development of the field. Richland Soil and Water Conservation District, the city is going to be providing soil samples to RSWCD. RSWCD will review soil sample lab results to determine what native seeds will perform the best at the pollinating site. Bee and Butterfly Habitat Fund, the BBHF, provides knowledge and advice for municipalities, schools, farmers, and landowners wanting to develop land into pollinating fields, and engaging with the development of the field by providing free pollinating seed. And Mr. Randy Eisenhower of the Shelby City Schools, the VOAG instructor out there. I've had numerous conversations with Mr. Eisenhower, and he is very excited to engage in a project with the city of Shelby. And I will mention that Mr. Eisenhower is the Richland Soil and Water Conservation District Co-operator of the Year. So Randy has quite a bit of knowledge in pollinating fields, as he's done some of his own property and other places as well. So we're excited to have Mr. Eisenhower on our side on this project. Okay. The site for the project, this was fairly easy, as we knew the acreage on the west side of reservoir number 2 was available, and it's city-owned property. This land is the former site of the number 1 reservoir. The field is large, it gets plenty of sun. It would provide a great location with the surroundings of the river, mature trees, and is adjacent to the walking path around number 2 reservoir. The field is currently being mowed, and this was a topic Councilor at Large Steve McLaughlin and I have been discussing for a while, as we wanted to find a way to stop mowing the entire field, and this project would fulfill that quest. The next steps for the development of the field: receive soil sample results, RSWCD to recommend a native seed mix for the site, discuss seed mix with Bee and Butterfly Habitat Fund. Bee and Butterfly Habitat would supply the seed mix for free. It's a 5-year commitment. There is a smaller agreement, 1-page agreement we'd have to sign. Share soil samples with Mr. Randy Eisenhower. Schedule site visit with RSWCD and Mr. Randy Eisenhower. Develops a specific planning design for the site. Okay. Site design still being developed, but some insight to some of the discussions. Create a field that would allow a habitat for both bees and butterflies. Outside perimeter of the habitat field could be for bees. Inside habitat area designed for butterflies, specifically the monarch butterfly, being specific with this field, because we are looking to support the monarch butterfly with the type of seed. Or separate the field in halves, half of the field designated for bees, and the other half designated for butterflies. A couple side notes here. There are discussions of making a walking path around the pollinating field with bird boxes and benches. This would provide another area for recreational walking. The site could still be used for stormwater detention in the future if needed. Note, there are underground facilities that could make it challenging for a retention area, as number 2 reservoir foot drains are at the base of the reservoir, facing around the reservoir itself, but particularly to the west. Number 2 reservoir overflow pipe flows over to the Black Fork River, and the raw water line supply from the pumping station to number 2 reservoir is located in this area as well. So more information will be provided to the committee as the project develops. Any questions with the pollinating field?
John, got a question.
Yes, sir.
Do you have any estimate of Easter Reservoir 2? How much we spend annually on gas and wear and tear on the machines and manpower to cut those fields?
I don't have it in front of me, but I can get that populated for you.
Yeah, at some point when you have time.
Absolutely, we can do that.
Yeah, it would be
That's-
nice to be able to attribute some savings to
Mhm.
this.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, I can tell you from pretty much May through October, we're out there about once a month mowing. And it usually takes a couple hours to mow, but I'll put some numbers together for us. We can review
Yeah.
that.
And just
Absolutely.
FYI, we remember we have some folks out there that are interested in seeing that area be a overflow for the
Mhm.
Black too, right?
Correct, we do. Yeah, that's why I mentioned here in that little note there that it still could be used. And we are, that's something that we've been discussing over years, that there could be some form of retention area for when the Black Fork is inundated. As we've seen in flood maps before, a majority of that water will flood to the west before it goes to the east. I think, Mr. Geist, you can tell us more on that, but the eastern bank of the Black Fork, that particular site, usually it doesn't overflow that site there. So we'd have to do some engineering to cut that down, to cut some weirs in there for that to flood into that area. So, yeah, I mean, it still could be used for detention area if need be. But for right now, that is not being proposed as far as other than discussion right now. So to look at the property for short-term use, to be able to put it into a pollinated field, to start establishing it for bees and butterfly habitat, I think it's a good mix for right now. Until the time comes, if we ever decide to use that area for detention. So a late waiver on the late fees here, or late fee waiver, if you will. So utility payment late fee waiver. The thought for making a late payment waiver was developed from the request from utility customers stemming from the delays in the postal delivery system and unforeseen reasons. The allowance would help ease the financial burden for being late on a utility payment, especially when there is a delay in the postal service and an unusual circumstance. The proposal would allow a one-time per calendar year waiver of the associated late fee for paying the utilities bill after the posted due date. The proposal would provide a suitable action allowing or showing care and compassion during such time to the account holder. The customer would need to request that the late fee be removed. This particular process here would not be automatically programmed into the billing software. So we would be asking the customer to make that request. So it's nothing we're just going to put into the system. It comes via a request. So late fees are applied when a bill is received after the 15th of the month. There, Joe. Some points of interest on this: approximately 900 customers per month are late at making their utilities payment. Some are due to unforeseen reasons, some are due to delays in the postal service, and some are habitual. The utilities office personnel have been receiving frequent calls from customers that are not receiving their bill until the second week of the month or receiving it after the due date. There are approximately 5,200 utility bills mailed out every month. Approximately $15,000 is collected every month from late fee payments. The percentage of late fees equals 10% of the water bill, 10% of the sewer bill, and 5% of the electric bill. Historically, the utility bills are mailed out on the last business day of the month to help compensate for the extra days needed to receive the utility bills by the United States Postal Service. The utility office staff is looking into mailing the bills out earlier if possible. Right now, they're mailed out on the last business day of the month. Legislation has been drafted and that would authorize the mayor or his or her designee to allow the utility office personnel to waive the late fee payment one time per calendar year per account holder. Legislation has been prepared for actually this evening's meeting.
Yeah.
So that's,
So those who do the automatic payment would not be affected by anything, correct?
that's correct. Their payment comes in mid-month or like 8th.
Like the 7th or 8th, yeah. So that's just another reason to, if at all possible, people could do that, to look into that.
We've had a tremendous response on the ACH, or the automatic check holding, within the last 2 months with USPS having some delays in their service. We've had a tremendous amount of calls of requesting the ACH.
Does your software have the ability to email?
We are looking into that.
Okay.
Yeah, because we've had some phone calls recently with that request as well. So we're taking that into consideration.
Yeah, this just allows some flexibility. Right now, there is no flexibility, so it doesn't matter what kind of. I mean, there are some good reasons why people are
Mhm.
late, and you know, and unfortunately, people's hands are tied. And we had thought about just having it be at the discretion, but we had talked about it, and that's just putting an undue burden on the utility staff to kind of go through. So it doesn't matter the reason. You don't have to come up with a good excuse. The dog ate my bill or whatever. You get a one time per year. Everyone gets it, and it is what it is. So
Mhm. Yep, very good. So that piece of legislation will be presented to council this evening. So
perfect.
there you
And
go.
John, are you going to be there this evening?
I will be, yes.
Can you bring a printout of this slide deck to council? with you?
Yes, I will. Yes,
Thank you.
absolutely.
I really appreciate it.
Mhm.
All right.
Absolutely.
Any further business or questions?
None here.
All right, Mr. McLaughlin.
None.
All right. Thank you, everybody. With that, we are adjourned. And,
Thank you.
I believe right at 4 o'clock. So
Yep,
close.
1 minute.
Well,
spare.
All
Very
right.
nice.
All right.
Good
See you
job,
guys.
John.
See you all
Bye-bye.
this
See you
evening.
later.